OTB AM.
With Gillette, put your best face forward with our new and improved razors.
Good morning and welcome to a very special Christmas preview here on OTB AM. No, this is not a preview of the sport that is happening during Christmas. This is a preview of the things that matter the most at Christmas. We're talking about food, we're talking about movies, we're talking about music, we're talking about sitting down and watching stuff for hours on end. Today we are delivering you the Mount Rushmore of Christmas movies, the Mount Rushmore of Christmas songs, the Mount Rushmore of Christmas food and our Christmas recommendations. This slot, folks, is known as Off the Bauble. I can welcome Nathan, Ger and Joseph, who are beaming in from at home. How are you, lads?
All good, yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas
Happy
indeed.
Christmas.
Oh, very good get up there by everybody involved. I like that. What's that, Ger?
Mince pies from Donnelly's Bakery in Marino, the best in Dublin.
Oh, they look nice. And John Duggan is here in studio. John, how are you?
Lads, how we doing?
Very well. So, OTB AM brought to you by Gillette. Good morning start with Gillette. Put your best face forward with their new and improved razors. So here's the format. You've seen the Mount Rushmores there on screen. We've got our three esteemed colleagues at home who are going to deliver their Mount Rushmore in each of those subjects. And then afterwards, we're all going to be chipping in with a few Christmas recommendations to fill some of your free time, which you'll hopefully have this Christmas. We're going to start with the Mount Rushmore of Christmas movies. Ger Gilroy, this is your stage. Take it away.
Okay, right. So I thought long and hard about this. When are we? What is today, Owen?
Today is the something of December.
Christmas Eve. Happy Christmas.
Oh, it's Christmas Eve, of course.
Happy Christmas Eve, everybody.
Oh,
Excellent.
happy
Good. At
Christmas
least someone's
Eve.
doing their job. Okay, so first one here doesn't really need any conversation. It's kind of like Roy Keane going on the Ireland one. It's a Wonderful Life, right? So I've already spoken about this on the show. I made the mistake of watching this at the start of December. It was too early. I should have waited until tonight, which is when I traditionally would have tried to sneak in a watch, because it doesn't ever not reduce me to tears. And the point at which I start crying in the movie gets earlier and earlier and earlier. So, like, I'm not quite at the opening credits yet, but it's this Pavlovian response to what's coming, to the fear and loathing and the family and the importance of it all and the lovely warm embrace. But this year I got to watch it with a couple of my kids and they really enjoyed it, and that was like a whole new introduction to it. So that's straight on. I don't know if anybody has any arguments about that, but
I'm going to hold my hands up. I have never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
And John as well.
I've seen bits. I don't think I've seen it all. I've definitely sat down. It has been on the telly and I've watched maybe half an hour, but I've never experienced the full maybe that'll be my thing for this Christmas. I know it's sacrilege. I apologize to the world, but it just passed me by.
Yeah,
I've
not
never seen it
sacrilege,
either.
right? It's the type of thing. Sorry, Joseph, go on.
I was going to say, it's a great pick, but there's sort of, on rewatching it, do you ever find there's like the kind of heartwarming bit comes off all the kind of depressing bits beforehand? So like the first time it's amazing. On kind of rewatching, is it always worth experiencing the grimness for the heartwarmingness at the end? Does the scale ever kind of tip too far the other way?
Maybe that's what I'm crying for. I don't know. It's a complex pie of emotions. Well, it's like,
Maybe that's a healthy thing.
I think so. At different stages of your life, you're like, wow, capitalism is really bad, isn't it? And sometimes it's just like, family is important, and wouldn't it be nice to be nice? It depends on what time of your life you're watching it, I think. But
so you're saying you become less of a monster at Christmas?
Kids. Well, as you get older too, on you're peak monster territory now, late 20s. You know, you just completely have no responsibilities. It's like you're the worst type of human being that there is, really. And it's not your fault. It's just the stage of life you're going through.
It's just reality.
No, Owen is at that stage that we're not bitter at all, Ger. We're Christmas Eve. We're obviously, going to spend the day with the family. There's a bit of planning still to be done to prepare for Santa's arrival. Owen is going to be out in the lash until 3 o'clock in the morning and may not get up until midday tomorrow.
I have woken up just in time for Christmas dinner the last few years consecutively, but it's not to do with just going out in the lash. It's just to do with absolutely destroying your bio clock. I'd go to Mass and then hit the Baileys hard after Mass on Christmas Eve. That is how you should be living when you're my age, Nathan.
I do think we actually maybe should have done a public service broadcasting here around Baileys. And what's an appropriate amount of Baileys? What's a shot of Baileys? Because I'm never quite sure. There's never enough Baileys in my glass.
Yeah, well, you need to change that. Are you pouring it, though? Is that the issue?
Well, obviously, yes.
Oh, you are. Oh, so you're reporting, and you're still not being generous enough to yourself.
Oh no, I am. I'm worried I'm being too generous.
Right. Okay.
I keep thinking Bailey's very, very low alcohol content. Just keep going, and it's pretty much chocolate.
My legendary aunt, who was like the greatest camogie player of her generation, had a great line around Christmas. Would you make that Bailey's honest for me, please? What do you mean? A little nip of whiskey.
I thought it'd be brandy with Bailey's. No, bit of whiskey with it instead.
Yeah.
Interesting. Right. Must try that out.
We used
tonight.
to go down to my neighbours on Christmas Day at about 3:00, and there were two women in their sort of late 70s, early 80s, and pioneers their entire life, but also very warm and welcoming people. So on Christmas Day, they'd insist that you had a drink, but because they'd never drank, they didn't know what was an appropriate level of drink. So you might, all right, yeah, I'll have a gin and tonic, and it'd be half the bottle of gin, and they'd be taking grave insults if you weren't drinking. So you'd be coming home, you'd only have had one drink, you'd walk back home, and you'd be, oh my God, Christmas dinner is just a mess. But I miss those people.
The legends of Christmas that they are. So we've got It's a Wonderful Life first up on your Mount Rushmore. Ger, where are we going next?
Die Hard.
Okay, so it will be such a basic thing now to have a conversation about the Christmasness of Die Hard. It is. I'm not going to argue it. It is a Christmas movie. We're not going to go there.
Is it?
Okay, Nathan can go there. Take it away. I'm glad someone's doing this.
I've never associated with Christmas. I know it takes place at Christmas, but
it's not about Christmas.
It's not about Christmas.
Yes.
It's not about the spirit of Christmas.
Go on, Nathan.
It's a very enjoyable movie, but it's a 90s adventure Bruce Willis hard man movie.
Yeah.
There's nothing like your Christmas movie. At some stage, there needs to be a moment where there is that tear in your eye where you're going, "Who's looking at me here?"
Yeah.
I don't know what's on the rest of your list, but something like Love Actually would give you.
Yeah.
I just Die Hard is while it's based around Christmas, it is not a heartwarming Christmas movie.
That's not very Christmassy.
It's not a Christmas Eve movie until it's a sort of past midnight kind of movie.
Yeah. You know what? I'm 100% with you, Nathan. 100% with you. We're not criticising the quality of Die Hard as a movie. We're just criticising the credentials of it. It's not very Christmassy. The subject matter is not to do with Christmas. It just happens to occur in and around Christmas. So I accept that it just passes the line. But Ger loves the rules, and just it does pass the threshold of being a Christmas movie. I accept that. So it makes your list, and it's a good movie. It's a great movie.
The theme tune is essentially "Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow." Like, what more Christmassy could it be? It's actually. I mean, you have no heart. It's about a relationship that's broken up, that's on the verge of fracture, that nothing can save, except maybe Christmas in LA and some international terrorists taking over the Nakatomi building. I think you've completely misunderstood that. Like, what is bringing the family together is the existential fear of, and the Irish get a mention in the list of hostages that they want freed. I read about it in Time magazine. It's got so many classic lines. It's eminently quotable, and the Christmasness of it. I think you misunderstood it. It's like, it's not just a minor plot trope. It's like, think of all the stress and pressure of going home for Christmas, and the only way to let that stress out is to blow stuff up. How many of us did not want to blow stuff up on Christmas after spending time locked with our families?
I'm not getting the presents we want.
All right, I'm not getting enough Baileys in the glass. I mean, that is the moment when you just.
I can't drink Baileys at home anyway. I can only drink Baileys in pubs. I find the taste different between the two.
Oh, it's an interesting one. Yeah, are you sure your Baileys hasn't just gone off in the cupboard for a couple of years?
Probably. Yeah.
I've never seen anyone order Baileys in a pub.
I would have Baileys in a pub.
Not
in a few years now.
My first drink in a pub was Baileys, because it was like, well, what could I drink here that I might actually like? I'll have a Baileys, please.
Yeah, it's better than the Woody's Orange is what I had.
Oof.
Oh, God.
So we've got Die Hard, we've got It's a Wonderful Life. Take us through the second half of this Mount Rushmore.
Scrooged.
Yes, great film.
I actually haven't seen Scrooged. I'm going to go mea culpa on this.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. But go on, give us
I thought it would have been right up your street, Owen.
Because I hate Christmas?
Or
what's the reason?
Bill Murray.
Oh, because it's Bill Murray.
Are you not a Bill Murray fan?
No, I like Bill Murray. I just think Groundhog Day is just that overrated. That's my go-to Bill Murray take. John's looking at me badly here. I need to wrestle my way out of that one immediately before we get down that rabbit hole. That's just always the thing that strikes me with Bill Murray is that, I love Lost in Translation. It's one of my favourite movies of all time, and I think he's fantastic in it. But I do think that maybe his peaks are sometimes miscalculated, and what actually are the peaks of his career. But I haven't seen Scrooge, so I'll get on it this Christmas.
He plays the same character in Lost in Translation as he does in Scrooge a little bit. He's a bit of an asshole in Lost in Translation, right?
Oh yeah, complete asshole.
Well, he is Ebenezer Scrooge in this version of Scrooge, and it's an updated version. It was this or A Muppet's Christmas Carol for me for the Scrooge version of Mount Rushmore Christmas movies.
I think, speaking of Scrooge, I think Muppet's Christmas Carol's been screwed here. Far better. If we're getting one retelling of that story, I think, come on, it's got to be the Muppets. It's got to be Rizzo up there on that Mount Rushmore.
I can tell you that Muppet's Christmas Carol has a higher IMDb rating than Scrooged. So the analytics guys are in agreement with Joseph here on this one. Give us your last one before we tear it down, Ger.
Well, I have two.
You have two more. So what? Mount Rushmore is 4, isn't it?
Yeah, but I have two that I'm deciding on here.
Oh, sorry.
Didn't we let everybody? Wasn't there somebody gets to put one on, take one off?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. So what are your remaining two, or what would be the one that you would put up if you had to pick a fourth?
Well, it's either Home Alone or I was going to put Love Actually up just to troll people. One of the things that you want to do with Mount Rushmore is generate debates, and I know that if we could just tag in Miguel Delaney about Love Actually, away we go. We'll have a lot of people talking about it. But Nathan actually wants to put it up there.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with that.
It makes him cry.
Oh, I have. There's a special place in my heart for the likes of a Love Actually, or one that hasn't been mentioned, The Holiday.
Sorry, I just choked on my coffee.
What a great
I was about to say, The Holiday is a great movie. I choked on my coffee.
What a great movie. It is unquestionably one of the worst movies of all time. But over Christmas, you sit there for 2 hours and you go, well, this is just thoroughly enjoyable, good fun. I'm all about Jack Black. What a guy.
Yes.
Bit of Cameron Diaz, bit of Kate Winslet.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I'm on board as well, 100% with The Holiday as a shout on this. John,
is it Christmas?
Oh, yeah. The holiday the reference in the title is Christmas. John, the ability to tear this mountain down and put your own stuff up there.
The only one I would put in, lads, is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, because when I was growing up, it was on every single Christmas, and to me, it's Christmas, it's chocolate, and it's a wonderful moral tale of a young lad who's a good lad, and all the mean kids and all the nasty kids and all the nasty parents and goodness coming out and passing the test with Gene Wilder and the Gobstopper and everything. It's a magical film, and that will always be number one on my list when it comes to Christmas movies. But it's not necessarily set at Christmas, but I suppose given it was just televised on RT and BBC every single year when I was growing up, I always associate it with Christmas, you know.
Joseph, what else is Jermison?
He hasn't made his final call here, has he?
So we've got It's a Wonderful Life, Scrooged, Die Hard as your definites, but I think Love Actually.
See, you got to get rid of Die Hard. You got to get rid of Die Hard. Willy Wonka has got to be in there. There's 3 that have got to be in there: Willy Wonka, Elf, and Home Alone.
I've suddenly found somebody who has my exact same taste in Christmas movies, and it's Nathan Murphy. I can't believe we've actually found this at long last.
Do you want to come over to mine for Christmas?
Elf is the greatest Christmas movie ever made, hands down. One of the greatest comedies of all time. Peak Will Ferrell, as Ger mentioned on OTB AM last week, one of the greatest casts in a Christmas movie, and for me, it's an absolute banquet. It has to be on any Mount Rushmore of Christmas movies, no question. Didn't make the call.
This could go to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, lads, to be honest.
Are we allowed?
Has Love Actually has suffered from some sort of weird cancel culture, has it? That even though it's only, 10, 15 years old at this stage? Maybe 15 years. That there's so many inappropriate parts to it that you can't say you like it anymore.
Which bit makes you cry, Nathan? Is it when she opens the Christmas present and it's a CD instead of a necklace?
Oh, Joni Mitchell. Oh, I'd say. Do you think that cost Joni Mitchell a lot of CD sales? I'd say it was difficult to bring out the Joni Mitchell best of at Christmas after Love Actually. What is the bit that makes me cry? What's the saddest part of Love Actually? Is it just towards the end where they're racing through the airport?
I'm not even sure if there are even moments.
I haven't even seen it, lads.
Of excruciating pain. Yeah. You need to get on that, John. This could be the Christmas for you that you finally open your heart.
In The Holiday.
Yeah.
So sorry, are we got? So what is your fourth one here, Jer? If you had to push you, so it's wonderful. Home Alone is the
Home Alone.
And would you not like how close does Home Alone 2 come to your list?
I haven't seen Home Alone 2 recently, so I don't know. It was hard. Like you don't watch these very often, but I've watched Die Hard relatively recently, and I've watched Elf for the first time. So Elf is definitely close to being on the list, but Die Hard is there in the same way. If what was the other movie? Willy Wonka. So Willy Wonka is not actually a Christmas movie, right? But it's associated with Christmas, and so if you're saying Die Hard has to go off the list, then there's no rationale. Like by your own rules, Nathan, you hoist by your own petard, I believe a wanker would say. So,
yeah, no,
Merry Christmas to you kids.
Willy Wonka, no, it can't be. Like, I mean, it's a movie that's on at Christmas, right? Like, I would have Willy Wonka in the same category as Back to the Future, where it's just on at Christmas, and you associate it with Christmas.
Willy Wonka's a huge moral tale. It's a moral tale about goodness, which is what Christmas is all about, the Christmas spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I guess you can make that connection. For me, it's not all about goodness, but you should, like, I mean, if you want to look at Christmas that way, it's very glass half full.
What about a wild card? I've got a wild card. Is it a movie? The Snowman.
Snowman, 27 minutes, all of it available for free on YouTube. Absolutely should be in the conversation as well, I think. Yes, it is a movie. I think it's a great shout.
Vastly overrated, kind of shite.
Is it?
You're nostalgic about it because it was on when we were stuck with 2 channels. It was on every year, and I'd be like, oh God, half an hour of this. Now I'm old. I kind of like, oh, the song's not bad, and the artistry I appreciate, and David Bowie's in it, and that's cool. But when I was a kid, I just thought it was shite.
Mm.
Yeah, and my kids think it's shite, as I have done that nostalgic thing of on a Christmas day saying, kids, gather round and finish the fire. We're all going to watch the Snowman.
We were the same.
And they're like,
5 minutes in.
This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do here. Unless somebody makes a really convincing case to disrupt the original Mount Rushmore, we're just going to stick with the original Mount Rushmore. And I don't think anybody's made a convincing enough case to move away from Jer's list of It's a Wonderful Life, Scrooged, Die Hard and Home Alone. That is your official OTB AM off the Bauble Mount Rushmore of Christmas movies. But I will say, I mean, I do think Home Alone 2 deserves more respect out there. I accept that it isn't given any respect, maybe for legitimate reasons, but I think
Remind me of the storyline of Home Alone 2.
New York.
It's better than Home Alone 1. It's when he goes to New York.
Yes. There we go. Somebody actually agrees with me on this.
Donald Trump is in that, was he?
Donald Trump is in it. He meets him in the hotel lobby, and he has, he plays the exact same technique in the first one, but it's a better version of playing the TV to scare a guy at the door when the creepy hotel porter.
The whole hotel staff are outstanding.
Yeah. And when you're a kid watching it, you're unbelievably jealous of Macaulay Culkin in that situation, whereas in Home Alone, you're like, I actually don't want to be in this guy's situation, but in Home Alone 2, you're like, I want to be Macaulay Culkin. And I think that's an important...
I will. Can we keep this open and like I'll get our local audience to do a focus group on this. Is there more Kieran Culkin in the second one? Because if there was more, I would definitely be up for that.
Don't think so.
He gets a killer line. He gets some killer camera time at the end.
At the end when they're all back in the lobby and they're all...
Kieran's more late developer though. Like Macaulay is the star at that stage.
Yeah.
You just got to accept it. We didn't truly know how Kieran was going to impact on our lives.
I think it would have been a pretty hot take in 1992 to say, you know what, Kieran Culkin's a bigger star than Macaulay Culkin right now.
I'll tell you what, guys, buy stocks in this guy. 30 years time, things are going to come up nicely.
All right, that is our OTB Mount Rushmore of Christmas movies. It's a good list. I think we might have more debate about that than we will about the next couple of ones. We go to music next. Joseph, you've been... flicking through Spotify for the last couple of days to go with the OTB Mount Rushmore of Christmas music.
Yeah, I'm going to actually flip the order I was going to go in here because I also have the same left field shout as Nathan, and I'm including the Snowman from the Snowman here on the Mount Rushmore. It's going to look great. It's going to engage the kids. Walking in the Air, great song. I
can't quite reach the note now.
We want a bit of light and shade on this list, so I'm putting the Snowman in there. We're putting Walking in the Air up there. Then going back to the top, obviously we're going to start off Shane MacGowan, Kirsty MacColl. We're going to get to two of them, kind of maybe sort of squeeze in a little bit in their get up from the video. Kind of Shane MacGowan with the sort of Lou Reed look going on. Then for my middle two here, I want to kind of honour a tradition, which was the sort of wacky 80s Christmas number one, where it was a bit like you've kind of got these random musicians where they're kind of going on a FA Cup run. They've kind of come from nowhere. They've got their song. In 73, you had both Wizard and Slade. So I wish it could be Christmas every day. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's much for muchness. I'm personally going with Wizard just because, again, we're looking for kind of BBC4, Top of the Pops, throwback factor. You see Wizard there. He's got his long white hair. He's got his little knitted Santa hat. He's got his glitter makeup. We're putting him on the Mount Rushmore.
It's also a far superior song between those two. Like, I mean, for me, it's a. I think you picked the right one there every day.
So hang on. Which one is Wizard?
I wish it could be Christmas every day.
I wish it could be Christmas every day. But that was not the Christmas number one in 1973.
Oh.
Merry Christmas, Everybody from Slade was the Christmas number one in 1973, which just held. No, I won't do that. I was going to. Gary Glitter was number two, and I Love You, Love Me, Love. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Have a happy
I think
Christmas
as
Eve,
well.
everybody.
That was actually part of the thinking here was, given the delayed recognition to that song. It missed out in 73. It's winning out this morning. Well done, Wizard.
Absolutely. So we've got Walking in the Air, Fairy Tale, and Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. What is the last song in your Mount Rushmore?
This was kind of hardest one, but I decided I'm going to stick on that theme of just sort of absolutely random artists who have just, knocked it out of the park. It's Driving Home for Christmas. It's Chris Ray. People are going to look at it and they're going to go, Mum, Dad, who's that guy between the Wizard Man, Shane McGowan, and the Snowman? It's Chris Ray. He wrote Driving Home for Christmas, top to toe with tail lights. Even as soon as that comes on the radio, you're not shuffling. You're sticking around for 3 minutes.
How many people would be able to pick Chris Ray out of a lineup?
I would.
Would you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. And I wouldn't. And I found him hard enough. Even it's like when you're Googling, there's a few other Chris Rays. It's actually quite hard to find them. But he's gone up there. It's just a cracker.
You know what? I think that's a good list. I think we've got a good mountain there. John Duggan,
It's a hard list.
I'd 4 songs which were not the same. I'd Merry Christmas Everybody from Wolverhampton Wanderers Slade. I had Jonah Louis Stop the Cavalry. I had The Pretenders 2,000 Miles, and I had The Waitresses Christmas Rapping.
Boom, John Duggan. That's the greatest Christmas song of all time. Christmas Rapping by the Waitresses.
There you go.
Love to hear it.
Look, everybody's going to go for Fairy Tale New York, so that's why I deliberately took it off my list.
Yeah, I'd be with you as well. I mean, no need to put that up in the Mount Rushmore. Ger, what are you having?
Everyone's going to go for George Washington. Don't put him up there. What's he ever done for anyone?
Well, he did own some slaves, so maybe we should take him off. What was your last one?
Christmas Rapping by the Waitresses.
It's the one you hear in all the supermarkets, and when you remember, I used to work in the checkouts, and they play that every 10 minutes at Christmas.
Yeah, it's a
You buried the lead there, John.
brilliant bass line.
Sorry?
What checkouts?
Cornell's Court Duns.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Busy spot at
Were you-
Christmas, John.
Did they have did you remember that story that went viral about the young lad who worked in the Marks and Spencers and they were able to get all the Christmas dinner for nothing on Christmas Eve?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that story on Twitter? It's unbelievable.
Was that in Cornell's Court?
It was the Marks and Spencers out there somewhere in that general vicinity. Did the same thing happen, John? Could you wait until the last minute and hope that you could load up with cheap turkeys?
No, I remember I was moved actually off the checkouts to mind the beer. I was the guy for about 3 weeks. I was minding the beer when it was. So
nobody rob it.
Yeah, nobody rob it. Being unloaded and brought into the offie.
Like a bouncer, not tonight, lads.
I got paid just as much as everybody else at the time, but it was a strange deviation from lobbing stuff through the checkouts and being the only lad of 20 people on the checkout boy.
Jackpot. That's a much easier job, I suspect, is it?
It was an interesting time. The clock in and clock out was the thing I remember the most. This is just about a year before I went into FM 104. It was doing Christmases and done. So it was well paid at the time. Fair play to them,
So what else have we got here in our Mount Rushmore of Christmas songs, Ger? Nathan?
I think. Well, I like Chris Rea actually. I hadn't thought about Chris Rea, and it always reminds me of literally Driving Home for Christmas and the late great Tony Fenton. 3:20 every Christmas Eve would play Driving Home for Christmas, and I'd be either on the way back from Dublin or Galway, and you go, yes, I'm heading to Paddy Phillips's, into the snug, couple of pints, glory days. So I will endorse that. The one two you've left out, Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey's got to be right up there. All I want for Christmas.
Go on. I'm not going to come in.
The second you hear the first little beats of it, you're going, yes.
Yeah,
I'm ready to
we're
party.
talking about Mount Rushmore here. Obviously, it's top 10. There's no question about that. But we're talking
but it's Mount
the
Rushmore.
cream
No,
of
I
the
think
crop
you're-
here, Nathan.
I think you're putting it in Mount Rushmore.
think it
My own
depends on-
personal Mount Rushmore, I would have E17, Stay Another Day. First single I ever bought.
Is that a Christmas song?
I mean,
Yes,
you
they
were
added the Christmas
Sorry.
bells behind it.
So
Ah.
you're saying Die Hard
you were
now,
exactly. Hypocrite.
E17, yes.
No. We can have different
Hypocrite.
movies and music are very different things.
Jer, what have you
And
got?
it came out at Christmas. It was a Christmas number one.
That doesn't matter. I
Um,
mean, every X Factor winner was a Christmas number one. Like that
Well,
Biffy
put them on
Clyro
your
cover
list.
was Christmas number. Matt Cardle doing the
very
Biffy Clyro cover is not a
heartwarming,
Christmas
wasn't
song.
They've had some strange number ones in Christmas, like Jackie Wilson, Repetit was number one.
Rage Against the Machine when they beat X Factor.
I think it was it?
Stan
Lewis.
in Ireland, unironically, Eminem's Stan was Christmas number one year just because everyone bought it.
That is.
Mary Rosenstock at Christmas number one with Roy Keane. Leave right now.
So yeah, no, that completely falls down on that logic, Nathan. I'm afraid to say, but I appreciate your difference.
What
You're not
was
really
the
allowed to talk.
Christmas number one last year?
Oh, who cares about number ones anymore?
I used to watch The Snowman, and then I'd always watch Top of the Pops on Christmas Day, and Top of the Pops is still on, and it's quite a sad, depressing thing now. But last year when they did the Christmas number one, I was like, what? And they said for the third year in a row, this band have the Christmas number one, and you'll never guess the name of this band. They're called Lad Baby.
Huh?
What?
They've been the Christmas number one for the last 3 years in the UK. With last year, Don't Stop Me Eating, which sounds like it might be a
Don't Stop Believing.
Don't Stop Believing.
Ah,
The year before it was called I Love Sausage Rolls, which is fair enough. And before that it was We Built This City.
okay.
How has this happened? And I know nothing about it.
Just
Aren't they like, I think it's a YouTube channel.
yes, of course.
YouTube.
That him and his,
Who the hell
It's
watches
him and his
the
YouTube?
kids.
distraction of
Subscribe
babies.
now.
He's a lad with a baby.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you got
okay, so-
Mariah Carey in there.
Some like I think it depends on what age you were when that song came out, because I'd say that video got some stuff stirring in young Nathan that he didn't even know existed.
Sorry, hold
That
on.
what
I
happened,
just
Nathan?
Google it.
A Christmas miracle.
Google what happened.
No.
We can tell you that
What?
off there if you want.
Sure, give us your list or your
Okay,
contenders.
some nonsensical stuff. The frog song, that's a Christmas song. That
Oh,
was,
yeah.
Owen's blank stare.
Bum, bum.
Yeah,
It's
it's very
like,
blank.
Bum.
Paul McCartney
bum.
and bum bum bum.
No.
Didn't quite
Pipes
write
of
it during
Peace.
Get Back.
Pipes of Peace by Paul McCartney. Another staple from my youth.
What was? Sorry, I didn't hear the name of the song.
Pipes of Peace.
Okay.
It's a song about when Christmas happened and was it the Germans and the French or the Germans and the English lay down their weapons in World War One.
Was that like a
You know the
response song to War's Over? It's like, screw
I
you.
don't know.
This is my version of on the exact same subject matter.
It was quite late, 83. It looks like.
So yes, it was.
But I wouldn't have those. Sorry, I would have something by the Ronettes. I don't know which one. I don't know if you're allowed to have a Phil Spector related thing around Christmas, given that he's a psychopathic murderer, and so probably shouldn't be on these lists anymore.
But you picked Die Hard, so I mean.
Yeah, but that
that
wasn't
wasn't-
real though.
Oh yes, that's a very good point. That was fiction.
If it wasn't for all the caveats, you'd have to have Bill Spector up there, in fairness.
Anything else, Jer?
I love White Christmas.
Yeah, White Christmas. Is
No,
great.
Last Christmas. I love Last Christmas.
Yes.
Cheesiness of it.
Yes, I'm with you.
It's amazing. It was one of the first songs that I ever learned how to sing. I remember myself and Brian Bulger got sent from second class to third class to sing it for the third class lads, and the teacher gave us jelly caterpillars. I realized in retrospect what was happening was the second class teacher was sending this to the third class teacher as amusement in the afternoon to like, look what these two lads are going to do if you get them to sing the song, give them sweets, I'll do the second verse. We thought we were great though.
Last Christmas, great shout. I think that should be in a conversation for sure. Ronettes, anything but Ronettes would work. I also think that Christmas Lights by Coldplay is the greatest thing they have done in the last 12 years. Every single piece of music they've released since Christmas Lights is worse than Christmas Lights, and I think that it gets a hard time because it's by Coldplay,
Not a
which is
bad
fair
song.
enough.
What about
Beatles are a good band for Christmas song too.
About somebody from Ballyhonus, from Mayo, Automata, Liberty Bell, classic, proper Dublin song. Do you know it? You don't know it?
I don't know this.
No.
No.
Okay, you've never heard this? Google it. Liberty Bell.
Is that
Should be
who's playing Christmas songs on
The Beach Boys.
Going to get us banned.
Beach Boys?
The
Okay.
Beach Boys.
From all.
Yeah, that whole album, but Little Saint Nick is awesome on that. I like Springsteen's thing. I like some of the Bob Dylan stuff. I think there's enough angstiness around those that, like, this is very difficult. I don't envy your final choice here.
Well, I think his final choice is Walking in the Air Fairy Tale. I wish it could be Christmas every day and Driving Home for Christmas. Unless you've been moved by any of the arguments there, Joseph.
No, the last spot was between George Michael, Mariah, but Driving Home for Christmas, I couldn't leave it behind, so I'm sticking with those four. If you are kind of wrapping presents or anything and looking for like an album to put on, obviously the Phil Spector one's amazing. Bob Dylan one is great fun. Kate Bush has this mad album, 50 Words for Snow. It's like really ethereal, looking for something a bit relaxing. It's a bit weird, but really good. And also, random one, I don't remember Las Vegas. They were like an indie band from the noughties. When they released their first album, they had an EP that came out that Christmas called A Snowflake Fell and It Felt Like a Kiss. And it's a brilliant 6-song, kind of like sad but happy Christmas experience. So yeah, I'm sticking with those four.
Nice one. It's a good
Chris
Mount
Ria,
Rushmore.
over 30 million albums sold, Owen, and you haven't a clue who he is.
Well, I know who he is, but I just couldn't pick him out of a lineup. It's just I recognise the voice, but not the face. And I'm sure that in the company of a lot of radio broadcasters here, you can all appreciate the Chris Rea phenomenon. Our next one is the Mount Rushmore of Christmas food. We're two down, two beautiful looking mountains. Nathan Murphy, you've been chosen to pick the Mount Rushmore of Christmas food. This is the most important one. Go for it.
All right, a lot of pressure on this. I've been agonising and salivating over what has to come over the next 48 hours around this. First up, I'm going with something that really is just the key to a successful Christmas dinner, that links it all together. Gravy.
Yeah. Okay. This is a good start. I'm not gonna lie, this is a very good start. I'm not even being ironic. This is a very good start. Gravy's a great shout.
There is nothing worse on Christmas Day if they haven't made enough gravy. You know, everyone's getting a little bit greedy with the gravy, and it's coming to your fourth turn of the gravy for that little bit of dry turkey. You're like, no gravy left. No gravy left. So gravy's, I think is everyone in agreement on gravy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
He's nodding.
Second
do you do the good gravy, the Jamie Oliver thing?
Yes, I don't make the gravy now. My wife makes the gravy. I'm more the ham man. So
Everything else is just ham and gravy. It is.
Next up, stuffing.
We got gravy and we got
Goes
stuffing.
hand in hand. Goes hand in hand. I was going to put the two of them together, but again, the stuffing, you want it there for, what are you getting, 4 or 5 days out of it? You'll get this. All this stuff is basically just enhance the terribleness of the turkey. So you can see where this is going, what's being left off.
Yeah, John Douglas not happy with that.
Everyone in agreement on the stuffing?
Yeah.
Would you dabble with a bit of sausage stuffing?
Ooh.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, hold on a minute. We need to clarify. Is it stuffing or is it sausage stuffing? Because there is a big
No,
difference.
I think it's a few different types. There's the stuffing that you put in with the turkey, and then you might make a big separate piece of stuffing. Because you're not going to get enough stuffing in with the turkey. You need a second helping of stuffing.
Yes,
it's
notions to try and make nice things for ourselves. What notions we have, Owen? Imagine trying to progress in life.
Well, there's a clear generation divide here where Owen's like, I usually wake up like an hour before Christmas dinner and it just magically appears. It's all there and I just eat it. I don't know what happens then. So they're my first two.
Yeah.
After that, I'm going to go for Christmas biscuits. Right? And this was my perfect excuse to open the Christmas biscuits. Obviously, the day before. The peak of Christmas biscuits is this one. It's the Fox's biscuit. That one. See that there? That is the peak of Christmas biscuit. You don't get that biscuit really throughout the year. So normally, just drop the Christmas biscuit.
So just like for people who are listening to the podcast, he's gone for the one with the hole in the middle, but with the kind of floury texture. Not floury texture, the floury outside, and it's a biscuit with chocolate.
So you basically, I won't do it live on air, but you eat the chocolate all around the side first. You can make a lot out of this biscuit. But I haven't been sponsored by Fox's, but I would accept and influence whatever else needs to be.
Nathan, are you aware that you're quite a noisy eater? Is that something in your life?
I'm not currently eating.
Oh, okay. But you should do it there. And then public could decide.
Come on, give us some ASMR there.
Well, I feel like there's a Christmas Eve roast going on right now. Where well, no, I won't be able to finish. I'll do it when I finish my fourth one. I will do that. I'm really undecided and on the fence. I'm willing to take influence. Turkey is not going on. Let's just be clear on that. I put up with turkey on Christmas Day. The ham, I do love the ham. I do the old Coke ham. I don't know what sort of ham you do, Jer. I like to leave it in the Coke for sort of 8 hours overnight. Coca-Cola, that is.
Coca-Cola.
You know,
Nathan loves Coke.
We're all a little bit older. Our Christmas Eves have changed. Owns might be different.
I got a mass.
Well, that I don't think ever stopped anybody. In fact, could help things along quite nicely. I'm very tempted by the Coke ham. I do like a mince pie. I do like a Christmas pudding.
Ooh.
The sprouts with the old pine nuts could be in there as well. So I'm sort of undecided on what the fourth item is to go up on Mount Rushmore.
If I had to push you, what would it be?
The Coke ham is Nigella Lawson. Just to, if Mariah Carey was for your teenage years, Nigella is for your 20s and 30s.
There's a pattern. There's a pattern emerging here. I'm going to go with the Coke ham.
The Coke ham is in.
I agree.
Number 4.
That's good.
John's actually got to go do some real work apparently over the next few minutes. Give us your take on the Mount Rushmore food before you go.
On food, I went for whiskey sours, a sausage sandwich in the morning. When you're doing the turkey and ham split, bread sauce to the turkey and a pineapple on the ham. And the last one, nobody else will have picked this. I always have waffles on Christmas Day.
Right, okay.
With my Christmas dinner.
Interesting. That's
Waffles?
Yeah.
Bird's eye waffles.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's absolutely disgraceful.
Waffles.
I'd have roast potatoes and all that as well.
Would you have mash, roast potatoes, and waffles?
Roast potatoes and waffles.
So no mash.
No mash.
So waffles instead of mash.
Wow.
Interesting. And then
bread sauce is the worst. Bread sauce. No, I can't even have it on the Christmas table.
I feel like we're letting you go at a very bad time here, John.
Well,
go quite deep into the.
I'll probably walk back in and you'll be still talking about it 20 minutes later. So
before we let you go, any other recommendations for Christmas?
Look, I always try and get you want to be switching off your phone. You'll have your 4 or 5 days later you get into sandwich territory. Chicken, turkey sandwiches, ham sandwiches. After you've gone to the races. So I always think big matinees are important. So Patton's a great movie. No Country for Old Men. Das Boat was another one in my head. All these 3-hour movies. Get into those movies if you can. And check out, if you haven't seen Fargo seasons 1 and 2, that's one of the best things I watched this year. So
nice one.
There's a couple of good Christmas recommendations. And happy Christmas, folks.
Happy Christmas, John. Have a good one. Have a safe one. We get back to the food because this is something that I think we need to revisit, because this is definitely the shakiest Mount Rushmore that we have so far, with the Coke ham just sitting there at the bottom. Nathan, will you just eat some of that biscuit there just so we can judge it?
I am. I see it. This is the ideal scenario. We're going around and bit by bit.
Go for a bit of a munch there so we can hear if it's loud or not.
Am I very loud? Maybe I am. I
Yes.
feel like Jer was thinking about something for several years and has now used this as an opportunity to have a pop.
No, it's just notable. That's all. It's just a thing.
Well, I'm eating into a microphone.
Not criticism.
I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I'm going to go too specific here, but there is no way that you can have a Mount Rushmore of Christmas food and not have Christmas sandwiches in there. There is I accept I'm keeping it vague there, and I accept that there's been a lot of turkey slander going on here. Turkey, ham, mayo, chutney, bit of stuffing, 2 slices of bread, unbelievable. And I just don't understand.
The shittest white bread you can have.
The shittest white bread you can possibly have, 100%. Actually, there's not actually shittest. There's actually there are the national brands of white bread, but there is a Kerry-specific bread called O'Sullivan's bread, which is the best, actually. It has just this chewy crust and just beautiful when it's fresh. If you get that on Christmas Eve, you're set for the next few days. If you can make the sandwich that I just described using that, you will die and go to a better place, and you will exist there forever. It will change your Christmases, and for me, that could almost be the Mount Rushmore. O'Sullivan's bread, turkey, ham, and then in 4th place, chutney. Because I think mango chutney defeats everything else. Forget your bread sauces, forget your cranberry sauces. That is clearly the best condiment that is associated with Christmas time.
Can we have that sandwich one more time? Because just your culinary knowledge and enthusiasm has just gone off the charts for me here. My mind's blown. Give it to me one more time.
So I would get 2 slices of white bread, any sort of white bread. But again, I would recommend that brand.
If it's so good, why don't they sell it in the rest of the country?
Because it's kind of like, I mean, where would you go to find the best champagne? You would go to Champagne. Or where would you go to find the best Waterford Blah? You would go to Waterford. And I would say that, you know, champagne has got diluted the further around the world it has gone, and you need to go to the home of it. Whereas I'd say O'Sullivan sat down and was like, look at all those great delicacies around the world. The further globalised they've become, the worse they become. So I'd say that they just kept themselves to the corner. So it's that. What did I say? Mayo on one side, on one piece of bread, chutney on the other, stuffing, turkey, ham, and away you go. I have heard rumours in the past of people taking a piece of bread, taking their pot of gravy and soaking the bread in the gravy, and then possibly even using that as a middle slice with your two outside slices dry and firm and ready to cut.
It feels like a risky move because obviously you're softening up that bread. Ooh, is it just going to collapse in the middle of your sandwich?
It's a good question.
Imagine though if we can toast our two outer pieces.
Yeah, I would go for that. Lightly toasted now, Joe.
A bit of mustard.
Structure.
A bit of mustard, I think.
Mustard.
In a Christmas sandwich.
Good quality, high-end mustard that you only get at Christmas as a gift voucher. The one that comes in the earthenware.
What? So are we just talking about the regular sort of Dijon mustard here, or are we talking one of the flavoured mustards that have other things going on?
I would go fairly unflavoured. Just good. The type of mustard that's so good you can get a spoon and eat it from the jar.
Okay, yeah, that sounds very, very appetizing. I'm not going to lie. The other thing, and I know I criticised notionsy behaviour a moment ago at Christmas, you need to stock up on smoked salmon. Like, use your Christmas bonus to buy smoked salmon. I know it's expensive, but if you're going to treat yourself once in the year, spend that $5 on the smoked salmon. Maybe go to Tesco late at night and get the one that's about to go off the next day, and just consume all the smoked salmon there and then that night if you're on a tight budget. It doesn't matter. And all you need with smoked salmon, a bit of mayo and O'Sullivan's white bread. It's all you need. Maybe lightly toasted, Joe. Toast her up to 2.5, maybe 3 max. Toast that bread, get that smoked salmon, layer on the mayo, and away you go.
No, capers, red onion.
You've gone back down again there in my book.
Bread.
I've gone very sort of college sandwich there, haven't I? Yeah, bargain basement sort of thing. But it's okay.
No smoked salmon for me, thanks.
The other thing, my last recommendation, and again, this is kind of like saying a personality trait is thinking that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Is a personality trait is thinking that Bounty is actually nice. And I've actually gone to the point where I persuaded myself that it's nice, where I would go for Bounty over every other chocolate in the celebrations box at this point, where it's gone to my number one on the rankings of celebrations. And in fact, any chocolate, because we all know Heroes are on a rung below celebrations, Roses are on a rung below that, and Quality Street are in the depths of somebody's basement, and nobody should ever touch a Quality Street. But within the top tier of celebrations, I think Bounty gets a tough time, and it should be up at the top.
No, the Malteser is your only man when it comes to the box of celebrations.
Okay, you disagree.
Snickers also good. Surprisingly good, actually. It's kind of
that
like
either Galaxy.
All the nuts.
Either Galaxy.
No
works.
Galaxy. No.
Bounty maybe just above Milky Way.
Nathan, have any of our arguments changed your Mount Rushmore? Your Rushmore, just a reminder, is gravy, stuffing, Fox's biscuit, the specific one that he was eating a moment ago, and Coke-Am.
No, I'm very happy with those four. But though I do the Christmas sandwich. You see, I guess the Christmas sandwich, some of those are a key part of the Christmas sandwich.
True. I've gone
Prawn cocktail.
Prawn cocktail.
I do love a prawn cocktail.
Do you guys do starters on Christmas Day?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, only on Christmas Day. Prawn cocktail.
You probably do as well,
once a
Owen. You
year.
just don't get up.
I think there's like bowls of cereal going in the morning. I always miss that.
Like eating prawns in bed.
That is your Mount Rushmore of Christmas food. That concludes the Mount Rushmore section of Off the Bauble for this year. John's thrown in a few Christmas recommendations here. We're not talking about Christmas movies here. We're talking about stuff that once you got a bit of time to yourself over Christmas that you tend to dig into. Who wants to lead us off here? Jared, do you have anything to go with here?
All right, what just went by Joseph there?
What?
It was the kitten.
It was a kitten. Oh, nice.
There's a kitten.
Joseph, it's Christmas
kitten.
Eve. Give people the kitten love that they need right now. This is
It's the kitten. Some airtime.
somebody clip this up. This is guaranteed. Hundreds
Awesome
of thousands.
content.
Class. That is a
What's
cute
the kitten's
kitten.
name?
That's Rua.
Rua.
12,
I get
12
how you
weeks
went
old,
with that.
Rua.
Wow.
Rua's how old is Rua?
13 weeks this week.
Jesus.
So
nice.
she came past my girlfriend's window in Athlone crying a few weeks ago. So had always been separated from her mother, brought her in, got her checked by the vet and all that. We're going to foster her, but then, I don't know, you can't. There's a bit of a fostering crisis going on, and also, I don't know, once you have her for a few days, like, we'll just keep her.
Nice. Well,
No, you're stealing her from somebody. Is that what's going
I
on?
was just going to say, somebody's crying around in that low.
No.
There's crying like she was.
They're a lovely
No,
ginger cat.
This is on the outskirts of Athlone, next to kind of an area where there is a lot of wild cats. And we brought it to the vet. She was like, "Yeah, that's a wild cat." Based on
That's a wild cat.
That's a wild cat right there. A wild cat has become very domesticated very quickly, but a wild, not stolen cat.
Well, happy Christmas to Rua on her first Christmas. It's great that she finally got an introduction to off the ball viewers, given Bailey has really kind of taken the headlines unnecessarily at times, I felt, over the past 12 months. We're going to get through to some of these recommendations before we wrap up. Who wants to go first here? Ger, do you have anything?
Okay, the goal mile is a good thing to do. It makes you feel at least a little bit virtuous, especially if it happens in the morning of the day. We're not a church-going family anymore, and so kind of miss out on that ritual. I did love A Holy Night. Like, that would definitely be on my Mount Rushmore of Christmas songs. There was a few particularly amazing renditions of it that used to happen on Christmas Eve in Athy in the church there. Jack L sang it one year, but even his rendition wasn't the best. There was, a regular that would have pretty much reduced the entire congregation to tears if we weren't such a repressed race.
Yeah,
everybody went home and had a quiet cry afterwards.
Essentially a soprano.
Yeah,
because I think that's we got something similar a few years ago, and everybody's like, "What the hell?" Like, I mean, just out of nowhere, this unbelievable singer comes in on Christmas Eve, and it's like, that's just absolutely ridiculous what they're after pulling off there. But yes, as you say, probably too repressed to appreciate it properly.
So go to the goal mile, walk the mile, run the mile, do whatever it is, get out and get her up early. If I had any balls, I'd go for a swim, but I don't, so I don't.
Great. I mean, I was expecting you to say like binge watch Breaking Bad or something like that, but that is a far better suggestion of something to do with your Christmas. Nathan, Joe?
Go for it, Joe.
I'd say if you're thinking about the swim, give the swim a go. I spent about 10 years putting it off, but yeah, it's incredible. A lot of people are doing it for a reason. So in terms of stuff to watch, just two quick ones. There's a series on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us. It's kind of hard. They sort of pump out so much stuff to kind of find, is something worth your time or not. But they've got one on Home Alone, which is absolutely brilliant. It's basically a making of Home Alone. Loads of great nuggets in it. One just to watch out for if you're rewatching it. Nearly every single thing in the Home Alone house in Home Alone 1 is red and green. Literally everything. Just watch the film back. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's how Christmassy it was.
Right.
Because they're from Mayo.
Because they're from Mayo. The McAllisters of Mayo.
Yeah, of course.
And one other quick one in a similar vein. There's a program on Disney Plus called Prop Culture, where basically they kind of dive into films through their props. There's one on The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is really brilliant. It's going back, kind of finding the original puppets, the people who made them, the people who acted it, talking to Danny Elfman, who scored it and sings all Jack Skellington songs in it. So if you're in any way a fan of Tim Burton or Nightmare Before Christmas, really recommend that, Prop Culture.
Brilliant.
I saw Batman 2 as a Christmas movie that somebody was suggesting. Speaking of Tim Burton, I don't remember enough about the Christmas element to it to make the case for it for Mount Rushmore, but I did love Batman, Tim Burton's Batman. That was like an awakening.
Is it like a Die Hard job where it's just set at Christmas, if I'm not misremembering, as opposed to, Batman Saving Christmas?
Yeah.
Not sure what.
I think when the main action sequences is at a big kind of Gotham City Christmas celebration.
Oh, the Macy's. Is that too? Okay, right, where he flies down and so it's the Macy's parade, which is actually the centerpiece of Miracle on 34th Street, which we tried to rewatch last week, but a bit like the Snowman, they were like, oh, come on, turn this off.
Have you tried the new Miracle on 34th Street, or was that the original?
That was the original Maureen O'Hara, the 1934, 42, whatever version that was that we were trying. So we'll go back.
Maybe add colour to it.
Yeah.
Force feed them. They were like, like literally had a proper tantrum, smacking the ground. I'm not watching black and white. It's boring.
Just add a bit of colour into it. Matilda's in it. I mean, that's what you want. That'll get the kids, and then you bring them back to the original Miracle on 34th Street down the line. Probably how to do it. I don't know. Nathan, what have you got?
Probably a little bit obvious, but it will take up a lot of your Christmas if you start watching it, is The Beatles Get Back.
Oh, yeah.
7.5 hours. It is just magic from start to finish. It's strange watching it. You keep forgetting that it's actually real life and not a documentary. There's moments where I think it's Linda McCartney is taking photographs and they show the actual photograph she's taken, and then they go back to the real life and you're like, oh yes, this isn't a group of actors. This was actually Paul McCartney. I'm sure everyone's seen the clip of him writing Get Back, which is sort of like what I would say is a OTB AM production meeting when I come up with a great idea. And Paul McCartney's writing Get Back, and George and Ringo are literally in his face yawning as he's writing this song. Like, oh my God, again, this guy. But yeah, there's it's a great. I don't know if it's the Beatles at their peak because they're close to splitting, and the end result a couple of years later isn't their greatest album, but just the monotony of how they managed to write some of the best songs of all time, and how like Paul McCartney is writing Let It Be, and Yoko Ono and Linda McCartney are sort of sitting in the corner just chatting away, not even listening as he's writing one of the greatest songs of all time. And yeah, the 7.5 hours is just a constant, wow, I can't believe that actually happened. So it'll take up a good chunk of your Christmas, but I would recommend that. And all the other obvious stuff. Fargo I haven't watched. I might sit and watch Fargo actually. I love the movie. Fargo's something. Ted Lasso, if anyone doesn't see Ted Lasso, perfect heartwarming round Christmas. Could you let the kids watch it? No, you couldn't let the kids watch it.
No.
Ted Lasso is the most heartwarming TV program of the last few years, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is, to be honest.
It doesn't appeal to me, I have to say.
It didn't really
First series is actually quite interesting from a sports point of view. It's more focused on the team and that side of it, whereas the second one goes off on it's a little bit cheesy at times. But
you've all watched Friday Night Lights, which is now available on Peacock through Sky.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
I have not.
No, you need to get on that.
It's class. It's really, really good.
Yeah, you need to get on that. Make that your Christmas priority. What's the Beatles doc on, Nathan?
Sky as well.
Disney Plus.
Disney, yeah.
Disney, right. Yeah.
Okay, well, those are your OTB AM recommendations for Christmas. This has been Off the Bauble. Ger, Nathan, Joseph, have a very happy Christmas. I hope you have a great one.
Happy Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Happy Christmas Eve indeed. But
Happy Christmas Eve.
You're going to get home from the studio all the way. It's a long old journey.
I know. I'm just going to get in the car right now, listen to a lot of Chris Ray, think about what he actually looks like.
Chris Rea.
I don't care really. I mean, he's not going to correct me. Is he going to correct me on that? He probably will. I'll probably listen to that. I will try and get some sleep before waking up in time for Christmas dinner tomorrow. That will be.
What's the Christmas Eve tradition, Owen? Do you a couple of pints tonight?
No, I've never gone to the pub on Christmas Eve. Yeah, never gone to the pub on Christmas. It's not a thing. Not a thing.
Disservice.
Now, last night, if I was out last night now down home, obviously I wasn't because I was in Dublin because I was up early to do the show this morning. Then I would potentially be hungover on a Christmas Eve rather than actually looking to go out on Christmas Eve. So that's how things work. But no pints for me on Christmas Eve.
I'm in a dangerous spot now. It's bright and early in the morning. I've already opened the Christmas box of biscuits, and well, there's only one end result, really, isn't there?
Those foxes are in terrible danger.
And a Bailey's. Oh, the day is made.
It certainly is. Listen, OTB AM has been brought to you by Gillette. Good morning. Start with Gillette. Put your best face forward with their new and improved razors. We're going to have plenty more good stuff for you over the next couple of days to keep you going over Christmas if you run out of stuff from our list of recommendations earlier on. But that is it from myself, from Ger, from Joseph, from Nathan and from John Duggan. Thanks a million for being with us this morning. Have a very happy Christmas. Chat to you soon.
OTB AM.
With Gillette, put your best face forward with our new and improved razors.